Hey everyone, we are back with another live stream today. This time we're going to be painting my album collectible boxes. And we're going to be doing a bit of a Q&A with Nikki in regards to the album and my first single that's out, which is Growing Up Was Painful. I've actually released an audio series sharing the stories behind that song, which is a beautiful process for me to reflect on my life and my childhood and also document these stories as well. So we're going to be doing a bit of a Q&A as well, but we're going to have some fun getting arty and farty again with our painting of these boxes, and hopefully, by the end of this week, I'll have these boxes painted and ready to start, filling and decorating and all sorts of things. So all right, shall we start? Do you want to say hello to everyone?
Hello, everyone.
How are you going today, babe?
No, I'm fine.
They were like, ew, it's frozen. The live stream has frozen.
I'm just kidding.
Cool. All right. Well, I think I'm going to start off with this
Two?
one. Yeah.
Do it.
So, all right.
I'll do space gun, metal, graphite, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So I'm just...
That was it.
So I'm just going to be painting the back of these, right? Not the insides, just this section. This.
And you can do the sides too.
Yeah, so the back and the sides. All right. Cool.
Correct. Can I use this one? Or shall we use that one for that one? Or have it for the space grey?
You can use it for whatever you want to use it. I don't care which brush I use as long as the brush works.
Okay. I don't know either. I just want to see what this one feels like. Let me open it.
So everyone's asleep, I would say, on the other side of the world right now. Maybe there's some night owls awake. Who knows? But right now it is 1:00 in the afternoon on a Monday in Sydney, Australia.
Or is it 11 in Perth?
How much of this do you think I need?
Just pop. Yep. You have it. We have lids for this, I think, so we can always close them up.
Go for gold, eh? Go for gold.
Wow, I love the feeling of this one. Feel it.
Oh, it kind of feels like my makeup brush. Maybe I should get one of those to replace my makeup brush that I lost.
I don't wear makeup, so...
I just got to make sure that the stream is...
I should use it for my grey hairs. No, I don't even dye my hair either. So just wear a beanie instead. That covers everything.
I am just checking to see if we are actually live. Can you check on, your phone?
My phone?
Yeah. Because I have no idea if we are or not. All I see is my story.
Yep, we're live.
Yay. Turn that down. Cool.
Look.
Can you turn it down,
Wait,
please?
I'm watching myself.
Turn it down. Cheers.
I just waved at myself. That's funny.
Cool. As long
small
as
things that contain small brains.
As long as we are actually live on Instagram and YouTube, that's all that matters. All right. I'm really excited to have gotten this far in the process of painting these boxes. So let's go.
I think you should use this one for the teal.
Okay.
Because it's like a light colour.
I won't argue with that. All right. Here I go.
Oh, I can do big ones too now. I wasn't planning on it.
Whoa.
Remember when you're painting, we even it out, then we spread.
Okay, Miss Expert in painting, eh?
I'm not
Nikki's.
an expert.
Yes, it runs in your blood, babe.
I like to paint walls.
Let me speak. It runs in your blood. She is fully Greek, everybody. In and out. So she has the Greek hand strokes when it comes to painting.
That's a lie. That's a lie. And also, see, I tried to do a V, but it didn't work.
So like
your
that?
dad is a painter too, babe. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so it runs in my blood too. I'm just naturally good at it. I want to do the microphone like you, where it's like out here but in front of you. How do you get it so perfect?
It's not perfect. Nothing is perfect.
Wow.
This isn't working as good as I wanted it to.
Oh, do you think it's because the brush is like wet?
No. I think this graphite likes to have a bit more grip.
Mine is working perfectly.
Yeah, no.
Look.
Yeah, no.
I'm really happy with that. I'm going to start painting the sides now. Look, I only needed one coat.
Yeah, mine's going to need a couple.
I think it's because you're being fussy with the gotta spread it out before I, just slap it on and paint it.
Yeah, I can just do a thick layer straight off. Hey.
I reckon. Just do it. Whoops.
All right. I mean, this needs a little bit of concentration, but I'm going to still try to...
Oh, I almost did a rookie mistake.
She almost just turned it around and put it on its face.
On the freshly painted thing. Okay, so
Rookie mistake.
I'm going to have to hold it. No one can hear me, but I said I'm going to have to hold it.
That's okay.
So how have you been finding the live streams, babe?
Nerve-wracking, terrifying, scary. That's about it. But also fun in terms of just getting to do stuff with you and do stuff that I love doing, which is painting and sanding and doing some stuff in... I mean, I'm always involved in your projects in some way, but usually off camera or behind camera most of the time. So, yeah, it's a bit more scary being in front of the camera.
So in other words, it's going amazing because we love to challenge ourselves with doing scary things, hey?
Exactamonto.
So if you're scared, then that's a good sign that, we are working through something.
Yes, or trying to.
Yes, trying to challenge the fear,
Exactamonto.
Yeah, because it is quite scary and daunting, doing live streams when there's so much to consider. Oh, hey, we have somebody join our stream. It is Sora.
Hello.
Boklados. Sorry if I can't pronounce your name, but welcome. Thanks for joining our stream. We are here painting my album CD collectible boxes finally. And yeah, we're just going to be having a bit of a Q&A about my album soon and the stories behind it.
Which are fascinating.
So if you have any questions that you want to submit, feel free to put them in the chat and do my best to answer your questions. And if you haven't yet, like, heard the album or the EP as it currently is, you can go and check it out on Subvert. It's in the link in my bio. Then it might inspire some questions for you if you want to have a chat with me. So what do? I see that you have percussion in your profile name. Who are you and where are you from? Where are you joining from?
I think they left.
Oh, they're still in the chat. I still see them there.
It says 0 watching, so I don't know. Anyway.
No, there's always a delay. And even if they go, that's fine as well.
Yeah.
That's how it works. It's never like, it's not immediate. So they're actually getting a bit of a delayed kind of like stream of where we're actually at,
Yeah.
Oh no, I see some crap on here.
Look at this. Oh, I thought I did a bad job, but never mind. Okay, so shall I start asking some questions?
Go for it. Ask away.
So in your first series, you mentioned Kununurra.
So we're talking about the audio series that I just put out, which is called Leaving Grey Box Crescent, and it's available to listen to on my Patreon. And it's just it's the first episode that I released last week, which just shares a bit of storytelling about, the stories behind my latest release, which is called Growing Up Was Painful.
Yep. And yes, so I was going to ask, you mentioned Grey Box Crescent, you mentioned Kununurra.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like growing up in Kununurra? What was this world you said that you left behind?
So that's a really good question. I mean, it's very layered, like growing up in Kununurra was both magical and also, like I say in the audio series, damaging, That place carried so much memories of exploration, adventures, fun, family, while also carrying memories of some not so good things that happened as well.
Yeah.
So when I talk about like adventures and fun, it's this rural outback town in the north of Western Australia, and it literally, had, I don't know, back in the 80s, it would have been like less than 1,000, population. So this is like out in the sticks. It's like so remote. So it's this like little country town out in, they call it the Kimberleys in Western Australia. So, and it has basically red dirt, it's a red dirt country, spinifex grass. It's kind of like, outback. So
like a stereotypical kind of, when people think of Australia and they think of the red dirt, is it like?
Yes, your stereotypical kind of like outback country town in the middle of nowhere, with very little population. You could go around the block of the town in like 20 minutes on your bike. Like I could do a whole lap of Kununurra town in that, that fast on on my bike. So
as a little 7-year-old. So like we're not thinking like on your bike as an adult 20 minutes, like you're thinking a 7-year-old.
No, like as a child,
BMX bike or something.
You could go around in a lap. Well, maybe not 7-year-old, but like I know I could do a lap of Kununurra when I was 12. So it's a small town, you have, our fun was going and swimming in the old river and going fishing and camping. Back then I was introduced to fishing at a very young age, even though I'm a vegan now. That was our way of life back then. It was like go fishing, go camping. My uncles would take us out camping in his, 4-wheel drive ute truck and take a generator out to the middle of nowhere, and yeah, we're just constantly out in nature, out in the bush. And those are the like magical like moments that I remember of my childhood growing up, is being immersed in this nature-esque like environment where, you know, you were always playing outside, always riding your bike, always having an adventure with your cousin or your friends from school. You know, I was riding my bike to school at, 5 years old. So, at 5 years old, I was taking myself to and from school, and there was this like level of ultimate freedom as a kid, even though there were still guidelines and boundaries. So as I say, when the lights turn on, you go home, like when it starts to get dark is when you got to go home. So Kununurra was this absolutely like, when I think of my childhood, like I think of freedom and fun and being with my friends. So that's Kununurra in a nutshell. It's like got beautiful waterholes, waterfalls, like beautiful scenery, like just fully immersed in nature and bush, and it's just so lovely.
That's amazing.
Look, there's a little bit there that you... Oh, okay. You're going to do a second coat. Yeah. Can I have one of those things so I can do... The same color?
Yeah, and so, okay. So people can relate to that, right?
Mm.
But if you were to go today, because you don't know what it's really like or how much it's changed, right?
Mm.
But what would you classify as something that you would say anyone that goes to Kununurra who lived in the 80s or whatever, what would they classify as absolute nostalgia of this place?
Oh, like riding in the back of the ute, like as kids around the town, no seatbelts, just in the back of the ute, we're all piled up in the back of the ute, ready to go down to the, Ord River. I don't know, like that's just, for me, that's what like, I think of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And then like, I guess if you went there and you saw Ord River, that would be quite nostalgic for you as well, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. But the Ord River now, you can't actually swim in it. But yes, that river would carry so much memories of being down there weekend after weekend, swimming with my cousins, my nana. Like, there's a photo in my album of me and my nana swimming in the Ord River. And that's the river that I'm talking about. And yeah, so it carries so much memory of my grandparents, my cousins, my aunties, my uncles. Like we were down there all the time.
That's awesome.
Because this place also gets extremely hot, like up to 47, 48 degrees,
Celsius.
Yeah, Celsius. So in Fahrenheit, I have no idea.
Close to 110, I'd say that is. 110.
Yeah, so it's kind of...
Hence why we're, it's 15 degrees now and we think it's super wintry.
We think it's snowing outside because it's gone below 20 degrees Celsius. We're like, oh, no, this is not on.
That's funny.
Yeah. So that for me was Kununurra,
Yeah. And then I was going to also ask you. Oh, yeah. I wanted to mention, you said, so that's all the positive, right? Now, I was going to ask you before we go to my next question.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask you also about, like, your... Maybe go a little deeper in terms of, because you mentioned you saw your stepfather be abusive and you saw your mother wasted. What was like if you were to go back to Little Thay at that moment, what are you witnessing? What are you like? Am I making sense?
Yeah, well, Little Thay didn't know really what was going on. In hindsight, I now know. All I'm seeing is, you know, my mum being abused by my stepfather. This was all before the age of 5, you know, like I saw my mum like be like was getting held up against the wall by my stepfather around her neck, you know, and yeah, it was just, you know, and she was always sort of like walking on eggshells with him. Like whenever he went away working at the mines, she would take us kids down to the local news agency and let us get some lollies or some chocolate, you know, because we were never allowed to have that whenever he was around. And she would hide those wrappers at the bottom of the bin. So it was just things like that, you know, like where if I wanted a snack before dinner time, you know, and if I was playing outside, she would give me my little cracker and she'd go, you know, go and play now. Like you stay out there while you eat that, you know, because like I guess he was really strict in that way, you know. So so it's just like things like that where, you know, I just saw her, you know, like we'd be traveling and then he'd be like, let's stop off at the pub. And like, of course, you know, like he's like, I'm just going to have one. But then hours later, you know, he's there drinking and they're out in the car waiting because my mum knew that like once he started drinking, then, you know what I mean? Like it's not going to be a good outcome of that. So she was always afraid of him. And we ended up leaving him there at the pub once and just like getting in the car and taking off. And
lucky your mum had a license too.
She had to, you know, he had to come and pick up the car. And that was it, I think. You know, she was like, we're not coming back, you know. So I saw my mum just, you know, like in this horrible relationship with my stepfather, getting beaten up by him. You know, he's very violent with her, very controlling, very like she had this tattoo on her arm and he was trying to remove it like at home with this acid. And so he wanted her to get rid of the tattoo that she had of like apparently my dad's name or something like that. So yeah, he was just like very controlling. And the household was a very strict household. So I witnessed that kind of like before the age of 5. And then I have memories of us being in Darwin and my mum was, you know, always drinking and smoking pot and getting wasted and things like that. And, you know, picking me up at all sorts of hours in the morning from after she'd been out partying. And, you know, there's a strange man in the taxi with us and he's coming home with her. And, you know, so I just saw her like numbing out, you know, like partying. Obviously I didn't know that's what was going on, but I just know that every time my mum wanted to go out, I was absolutely petrified and would cry and cry and cry because I would always be left with people that I had no real connection with, you know, and it was scary being left at that age as well. I think it's just complete and utter terror of being left, you know, for like my mum to go out and party and things like that. So yeah. So yeah, there was sort of like all of that going on, you know, and we didn't really have a stable home all before the age of 5. That's why I say while Kununurra had damaged me and there were some experiences I went through in Kununurra that were really, you know, harmful to me as a child, it was the most stability, you know. It gave us a home for like all of my primary school years. So, you know, it gave us stability. I can see now, like, and I always wanted this. I haven't asked my mum, but like, is that why she took us back to Kununurra to live, you know, to kind of get away from that like unstable lifestyle and, you know, like give me some sort of stability while I was going through my schooling in my younger years. Yeah, so it was, you know, it was like what I remember of my life before Kununurra was very unstable. We were traveling around here and there, like from Darwin to Brisbane to then living with my dad, stepdad in Dysart, and then we were back to Darwin, you know, after she left him. So there was no real kind of like home or stability before then. So that's why, yeah, I mentioned that because I did start my audio series from the moment that I left Kununurra at 12 years old. But there was so much that happened and Yeah, exactly. So maybe I will do the prequel. Is that what we call
Yeah.
them? In another audio series. But yeah, basically, once we moved to Kununurra, that was where I had a home for like all of my primary school years, stability, living in the house with my grandparents, few of my aunties and uncles and some cousins as well. But it was stable, and I remember feeling very much like welcome in that house by my grandparents, you know?
That's beautiful. And you also mention once you started moving, I'm pretty sure you mentioned the word displaced, right?
Yes.
And I wanted to ask you something about it.
Mm-hmm. Yay, I think I finished that
And
one.
I will use this because it's a bit long. So from Kununurra to Perth is the feeling that you started to feel displaced.
Yes.
Alien fingers. But tell me the emotional roller coaster of feeling this from an intergenerational perspective, as we hear a lot about displacement due to, say, for example, colonization.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this feeling is also a feeling that many cultures have, not just Indigenous.
Mm-hmm.
But I know many talk about it through an Indigenous lens.
Mm-hmm.
But not many talk about the process. I think I haven't really heard anyone really talk about it in a deep way. They always talk about it in regards to reclaiming or acknowledging, but what is it to and what does it take to heal it and start the process, or even start the process of healing it?
Whoa, babe. That's a really hard one to answer in one, like, you know, setting, because I think it's a very complex answer and it really depends on each person. But I can only speak for myself. I think, where do I start? I think the only way a person is going to heal these feelings inside of them is it's the slow process, for one. So in terms of my experience, it really started out with me desiring to want to understand how to love in this world, because I felt like I had never really experienced true love or didn't know what it looked like. So that was the initial seed, which then led to a series of awakenings in my soul about my life and about some of the things that I'd gone through, some of the things that I had done personally that was harmful as well in my adult life. So it really, you know, like everything comes in seasons and layers, and it just depends on where someone is at in their soul. So for me, coming to understand that this feeling that I had been carrying since I left Kununurra was a feeling of disconnection and displacement didn't happen on my healing journey until literally, I believe, last year, or was it might have been in 2024. So that's like 10 years on my healing journey that I came to go, wow, so that's what I felt when I left Kununurra. I felt this like ripping away in my soul from everything that I had known that was so familiar to me. So my family, my friends, my school. And it was, I think, magnified because of the fact that I'm First Nations, and because I do carry First Nations intergenerational trauma, you know, from my ancestors who have gone before me, that feeling was magnified. So, you know, I experienced in my own way through the law of attraction my own displacement, you know, from a home and a family that I knew to somewhere that was completely unfamiliar, and actually, you know, mirrored the, like, you know, the children being taken away from a young age, you know, back in when we had that policy, you know, because I was being taken away from my only family that I knew, my Aboriginal family, and taken to live in a white, like, in a white household, very Anglo household with a mum and a dad, you know, being my stepdad. So it felt, and I didn't know at the time, but I wouldn't have gone, oh, I'm feeling disconnected and displaced, but I just felt a deep sense of sadness and a lot of grief that I didn't know why, but it showed up as depression, you know, a feeling of like I didn't belong where I was, a feeling of not being able to fit in, a feeling of like I feel like I'm foreign in this world and it's all new to me, and I don't know how to exist in it, you know, because I'm so used to this family and this upbringing that I had in Kununurra that being in Perth, you know, leaving Grey Box Crescent to go and live in Perth was actually an upheaval for me in my soul, you know, that I didn't have the tools or the knowledge or what I do now on how to deal with that and feel through it. So for me, it just became, you know, like I just became, like, for the first time in my childhood, unhappy, you know, whereas even through all the pain, all the negative experiences that I had in Kununurra, I still had that childhood kind of joy, you know, like that ability to, I don't know if it's a good thing, but I think it's how children disassociate, you know, with the bad things that are going on, and they just have this capability of just facing a new day and going out and waking up and going, okay, what am I doing today? Like, what fun am I going to have? You know, like,
it's almost like a reset. Kids have resets every day.
Yeah, it's like a reset every day, or even no matter what bad thing happens to you throughout the day, it's like this big reset. So I was always, you know, while this horrible things are going on, I still had that ability to, you know, I still had that childhood kind of like joy in a way of like just waking up and embracing the day and whatever moments come along, you know. Whereas when I hit Perth, it was like a slow erosion of that, of like just one, you know, I was 12 going on 13, so going through puberty as well. So, you know, I think the weight of all those emotions that I'd suppressed throughout childhood was now just turning into depression, a numbness, a feeling of no real joy, no real sadness, just nothing, you know. So I don't know if that answers the question. I forgot.
Displacement.
So
feel something like
so
that.
for me, even 10 years into my journey, healing journey, I didn't see myself as having any First Nations intergenerational trauma, because I was always like, oh, I'm fine. Like, none of that affects me. Like, I even had people asking me about it. I'm like, oh, it doesn't affect me. I mean, that's what happened to them. Like, you know, like I was always like oblivious to it, you know, oblivious to this First Nations intergenerational trauma, so oblivious. And so I didn't actually start exploring any of that until 10 years later, which was about 2024. And even like in 2024 was when I actually came to the realization about this disconnection and displacement that occurred when I left Kununurra. I had started chipping away at layers, though, to do a First Nations like years before that. You know, I was working through these feelings of inside of me that I just always felt like I didn't belong, didn't fit in, you know, always felt like, yeah, just like I was just like I just had this emptiness inside of me, you know, and even in workplaces, I just didn't fit in. Like I just always had this sense of like not fitting in or belonging. And then I also was working through a lot of like feelings to do with my self-worth, how I viewed myself as a person deep down inside, you know, because we're sort of taught in blackfellow culture to be all black and deadly, you know, but it's a whole facade. This whole black and deadly thing is a facade thing for a lot of you know, First Nations, because especially myself, that was a complete facade. I didn't feel black and deadly inside. I felt like I was shit. I felt like I was a shit stain on earth that needed to be wiped away, you know. So that was my true feelings about the depth of how I viewed myself as a human being. Was just like I viewed myself as a nobody, like somebody who didn't deserve to be here or deserve to live, and I spent my days not wanting to be here. So my viewpoint on myself, so I was working on that prior to this pivotal moment that I had in 2024 about my displacement. So I was chipping away at layers to do with First Nations for the first time in my life. But it wasn't until I watched that doco.
Yeah, because like that sounds very interesting, because a couple of things. Like you're saying, these feelings you had, I feel like a lot of First Nations people have this feeling of like not feeling like they belong, but also that, you know, the world doesn't want them.
Yes.
Right. And I think other souls would have that kind of feeling, like, you know, children that didn't get aborted but their parents didn't want them, and they all have that similar feeling, and you know, that kind of stuff. But I find it interesting because like a lot of people either, you know, they flip it and they just go, well, they don't want me here, and I don't know, but like, who cares? I'm going to be this big, loud,
I'm going to take up space anyway,
you know, person. And then they kind of do a really big opposite trajectory from what they're feeling so they can avoid it.
Well, that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
I did that prior to my healing journey.
Yeah.
I spent my life, you know, putting on this facade of I've got my shit together. I think good things about. I think I'm pretty fucking cool, you know. Like, yeah, I am deadly. Like, yeah, you know. And I acted as if I was deadly, you know. Like, I spent my life putting on this facade of like having pride and feeling like it's a facade of like you feel like you're all that, you know. Like, so I would act as if I was all that, you know. And I was just, you know, you become very narcissistic, and I think I became very narcissistic to avoid feeling that I just did not feel any sense of worth inside. So I put on this bravado of feeling, of pretending as if like, you know, I got my shit together when I really didn't have my shit together. So I was avoiding these deep, dark, heavy feelings in my soul that I felt about myself, that I felt like, you know, I was just worth nothing. And so, but I pretended as if I was black and deadly, you know, like I pretended as if like, you know, I was doing amazing things in my life when I was really just partying every weekend, getting wasted, getting drunk, popping pills, snorting lines, you know, like I was
and
just
reset, do it again.
And then reset, do it again. And you're out there like acting all that in the clubs and whatever, like, you know, but like, so I lived that life, you know, and I lived that life under the influence of like, you know, substance abuse. And it wasn't until I gave up my addictions to substances that my true feelings emerged, which was a feeling of just complete emptiness, like lots of numbness, you know. I could finally feel that I was numb, like oddly. So addictions will like help you to feel good. Like they don't necessarily numb you out. They help you to feel amazing, you know. Like substances will put you in a good mood. Substances will like pep you up and make you like feel like you're on top of the world. When you take away substances, you actually feel the real feeling, which is a numbness. There's no feeling. There's no happiness. There's no sadness. I mean, it's the sadness is there, but you can't feel it. So what you're feeling on top is like this just emptiness and numbness. So I spent many, many years putting on a facade of it was just a narcissism of I'm all that. I'm really, I've got my life together. I am deadly, but I really didn't feel that way. And it wasn't until I gave up my substances that my true feelings came out. And then the more and more I processed on things was the more and more I realized, wow, I actually don't have any self-worth whatsoever, So it's been the more I've worked on feeling through this pain, the more I've worked on feeling through all of my experiences I've went through in my childhood that were painful, that I was never allowed to process or didn't know how to process, the more day by day I grow self-worth. I can it's not something that I have to fake, like it's true feelings start to develop about, wow, yeah, I do have worth and I am valued, but it's not from a narcissistic place. It's from a place of just acknowledging the truth, without needing to be put on an act, of I'm all black and deadly, which is what I see a lot going on in the community with First Nations. And I understand it and I'm not judging it because I was once doing that,
Yeah, because we could go on a tangent.
Yeah,
there and we
yeah.
can go far. Cause,
yeah.
Because I can then go, let's talk about the anger that's being projected on both ends.
Oh, we won't. That's off topic. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just want to reel it in now.
Yeah, reel it in.
But I think the essence of just how much of that displacement needs to be addressed.
Yes.
And I thought it was powerful that you put it into the thing because...
Well, yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I thought it was powerful to put it in there because, yes, it relates to Indigenous people, but it also relates to a lot of cultures that feel displaced. So it's something that a lot of people need to be, acknowledging or...
well, I just think there needs to be more education on it. Yeah. Just more education in the sense of that intergenerational trauma is real and you have feelings inside of you that you don't understand, but because they're feelings that are passed on to you from generations before. So you don't really quite understand why you feel a certain way, but it shows up as a lot of rage, anger, like I said, narcissism, putting on an act that you have worth, when you really don't feel that in your soul, you're just putting on the act to really escape how your true feelings are. So I just think there needs to be more of an education for all cultures, white, black, yellow, all races. There needs to be an education on intergenerational trauma because we all inherit emotions and beliefs from our previous ancestors and family systems that pass it on to us that are painful and that are out of harmony with love, and that make us feel a certain way. So it's about becoming aware of that, Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I was going to just add Olive in there too because...
Olive. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Just the wogs
Greeks
out there that are in complete denial about intergenerational trauma, I think is a big one that we need to look at.
Yeah, Greek people
and
for
face
sure.
it because we take pride of our generation thing instead of looking at our errors in intergenerational trauma that I still have to look at.
I think there's beautiful parts of culture and I think there are unloving parts of culture that actually cause a lot of pain and damage to humanity. And I think we need to acknowledge the loving parts of culture, the community that it can give us, the sense of, pride, but true pride, not fake, but there's also a lot of harmful and damaging parts of culture as well that that cause wars. Let's just say that. That's the only reason why we have wars is because we see everyone as different, not our brother and sister. We see another country as that's that country and that has nothing to do with us, but actually everyone is brothers and sisters, end of story. We're all family. So no matter what country you're from,
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love it. And through every darkness inside there's always a pot of gold. You know? So
yeah, well, I mean, if there's
even
all
if people are mean externally, they weren't born that way.
no,
And we were all born as gentle children, babies, and world and life has hardened us, and we need to have compassion
yes,
for people. Even it's hard for me even to have compassion for some people because they're just so blatantly
mean, yeah,
but like you got to remember that they weren't always like that, and so you know, you just projecting your anger back to them is only going to further damage your soul and their soul.
Yes, an eye for an eye makes the world go blind. So
one of the best sayings Gandhi has ever said, or someone has ever said. So
yeah, but we should probably get back to the audio series.
Come
or
on.
any questions.
Yo, I was trying to finish it off.
Okay,
I was it off, okay, and then I was going to the next question. So give me a second.
Okay, but yeah, I think we do need to start seeing every single person on this planet Earth as our brother and sister, and stop seeing the color of our skin or our culture as barriers, you know, as differences, because we all bleed the same. We all have the same color inside, and we all need to learn to get the fuck along, because this world has been given to us. It's not our world. No one owns the natural resources on this planet Earth but the being who created it. And so we need to learn how to share. We're all fucking kids right now, man, squabbling over this my land. No, this is my land. Like, fuck me dead. Like, actually, it's no one's fucking land, okay? Like, it's been given to us for free. The water, the sunshine, the food, the seeds. Like, anyway.
Also, just quickly, I just want to add to that quickly.
Yeah.
Is just to say, guess what?
What?
80, 100... and if you make it to 120, like, once you're gone, the land moves on. Like, you don't get to take it with you.
You don't get to take it.
Therefore, it's not yours. You know what is yours? Not even your body is yours. Your spiritual body is yours, and your soul is yours. Yeah. That's it.
The body goes, guys.
This is just a mechanical
All you
thing.
got is your soul. I love that Tracy Chapman song. That song, I don't know if anyone knows, in the Hey JR 33D, thank you for joining the stream. But there's a song that Tracy Chapman wrote, and it's called All That You Have Is Your Soul. It's so fucking true. That's all we have. That's the only thing that belongs to us right now. Everything is not ours. Like, so let's learn to share, everybody. Let's stop fighting over, like, you know, whose is whose, because it belongs to no one.
You can buy land and it's still not your land.
Exactly.
In 80 years. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know. I just, reality check.
Yeah. Anyway, what's the next question?
Next question. Mm-hmm. It's a great and fun, completely sideways thing. Ready? Mm-hmm. Talk to me about, you ready? Mm-hmm. Jimmy Swaggart and your granddad.
Jimmy Swaggart. I don't know if any of you in the chat
Swaggart. Sorry, I said Swaggart.
know of Jimmy Swaggart, but he was this Assembly of God, born again Christian preacher in the 80s, and he ended up getting, you know, caught for sleeping with prostitutes and things like that. So it kind of like ruined his rep, you know, his good old Christian reputation that he was building. So Jimmy Swaggart, like, you know, my family was Christian, and growing up in the 80s in Kununurra, we'd go to church, and after church we'd have Jimmy Swaggart playing in the home on tape decks, you know. So, and my granddad was a pastor. He was a pastor of a church. So everyone was revering Jimmy Swaggart in the home, you know. Like, it was just this like wafting through the hallways of Grey Box Crescent. Good old Jimmy Swaggart, you know. So that's why I mentioned Jimmy Swaggart, because like that's my earliest memories of being in that home, like after church on a Sunday. My auntie's playing Jimmy Swaggart. We're all waiting around to have lunch, and the aircon's blasting because it's so freaking hot outside. So yeah, that's how I came to know of Jimmy Swaggart growing up.
And what is that relationship? Oh, sorry. What is that relationship though with Jimmy Swaggart and your granddad? Do you know anything like in terms of what
that
the
just-
feeling you had around it?
I just think Granddad idolized him, you know, because Granddad was a pastor and a preacher. So he looked up to Jimmy Swaggart and wanted to be like, I guess, saw him as, you know, somebody he could look up to and things like that. And, you know, like maybe learn from in terms of his own preaching up there on the pulpit, you know, we had this like little tin church on this Aboriginal community called Mungum in Australia, like in this little town called Kununurra. So Granddad used to like, you know, he used to lead the services.
That's crazy.
You know, I hated church though growing up. I never wanted to be at church. But yeah, I always went along because I was forced to go. But
I was forced to go.
which side am I painting? This side or this side?
Just paint both sides.
Oh, okay. Cool. But other than that, like I think just Granddad, like, you know, idolized everyone in that room, idolized Jimmy Swaggart because he was getting real big in America, you know, like.
Was he Australian?
Can you believe that this like pastor in America like was like basically getting known in a small like town in Australia that had no like such a small population, probably around 1,000 people, and Jimmy Swaggart was known, so he made it to Kununurra in Western Australia.
Crazy.
So anyway, I mentioned that because that household was this Christian household. We weren't allowed to watch TV or listen to music, and if we did, it had to be church music. But eventually my mum bought a TV, you know, sort of like in the early 90s, my mum ended up buying a TV, so that rule went out the window.
Such a rebel.
But my granddad would always say things like, what do you want to watch that for, you know? And then he would always say things like, if I was dancing to music, hey, what are you wriggling there like a snake, you know, like that serpent, you know, like, because he's going on about like the Satan in the Bible.
Sounds like my family with the devil music.
Yeah, it was all the devil, you know. So that was the contrast in that household between being fully Christian to then all my aunties and uncles like drinking up and fighting, and you know, there was just violence and crap going on and stuff. So yeah, it was crazy.
I think that kind of irony is probably very common in almost all families. So yes. I think that was what's really relatable.
Yeah, it's like your family tries to be all loving and proper and, you know, Christian values, but yet like their actions tell you otherwise, you know? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's the whole
like
Jimmy Swaggart era. And then obviously we found out that, like the rest of the world found out, that Jimmy was doing the dirty, you know, on the side with some prostitutes, and so that was that. Jimmy was no longer a part of our household.
Banned.
Yeah.
Boom.
What do they call it? Cancelled. So yeah.
Cancelled.
But yeah, other than that, like, you know, I grew up in this like Christian household, but there was some, you know, pretty dark things going on, you know, with what my cousin was doing to myself and my other cousin and a couple of other cousins as well. So, you know, growing up, like, only now that like I can see that that household also just had like a lot of like sexual injuries going on, you know. For those of you who may not have heard the audio series, I talk a little bit about how, you know, growing up in Greybox Crescents had these beautiful memories, but alongside of it, these but these very painful memories of, you know, being abused as a child in that house by my cousin, and my cousin was also abusing another one of my cousins, and I found out later on in my adult life that he actually abused his brother and my other male cousin as well. So there was all this time I thought it was just me and my other girl cousin that he was doing it to, but now I found out that was two more that he was also abusing, sexually abusing. So yeah, that was, you know, that going on. But at the time as a child, you don't think like, what is going on is, I think there's a mix of what's happening inside of you of like, this doesn't feel right, but you also feel like, because the abuser is always really good at making you feel like it's your fault and you're the bad person. So you also feel like, oh, I can't say anything because I'm going to get in trouble, I'm going to be, the one that's in trouble. So yeah, so it's a lot of manipulation and stuff like that goes on with, childhood abuse and things like that. A lot of gaslighting and things like that. So yeah.
And I was just moving to the next question. It's very similar.
Yeah, go for it.
You quote a line that says, talking about that place, it carried things nobody could see,
or could they? Yes.
And now reflecting back, do you feel your granddad, your grandma, your aunties, people around, your mum, people around could see but they ignored? Or do you feel like they were oblivious until you brought it up as a teenager?
I think the reason why I said, or could they, because one of my aunties did actually tell my mum that she saw me running out of the room one day, and she asked Dale. And I actually think now I'm starting to remember that day, I vaguely remember it, but she apparently asked, I shouldn't have said the name, but my cousin, what was happening, what's going on in the room. And he said, oh, we're just playing. So that was just recently that my auntie told my mum that. And so there was, I think, signs there that they could have seen and they could have investigated further if they wanted to, but it was not. So yeah, but it's very hard for, I think, adults who injured themselves in that way, because apparently my mum was being abused by my granddad's brother growing up. So there was abuse, I think, generationally abuse going on, So whether something happened to my granddad as well that made him feel shameful, that, my nana, like, I think there was just like a lot of like suppressed trauma about being like about abuse and a lot of sexual trauma, sexual injuries going on that were passed on generationally. And if you haven't dealt with your own like trauma, there's no way you're going to want to deal with that when that's happening to somebody else. You're going to feel so much shame. You're going to want to shut it down. You're not going to want to talk about it. And I think that's just what went on in my story, like in my household. There had been experiences because I also found out that one of my family members, I won't mention if it's an auntie or an uncle, but one of my family members was abusing the cousin that abused me. So one of my mum's siblings was abusing the cousin that abused me, so I found that out, So it's just, I think it's just like all of this kind of like stuff going on that's not being dealt with. Of course, naturally, it's going to continue through the generations,
Exactly.
And I'm not judging anyone. I am, like I have really worked on myself to come to a place of more compassion and a more openness to the whole situation, what went on. For many years, I carried a lot of anger and bitterness towards my whole family. Yeah. But I've been really working on that. So I'm not saying any of this to judge anyone, just to share the truth of those experiences and the dynamics that, can lead to these things happening to children if we do not heal what's inside of us and the experiences that we've gone through in our childhood. And then we have children, it's we're creating the perfect breeding ground for this to continue to happen to our children and to the generations to come. So it's really important that we get comfortable with dealing with our trauma so that we can break the cycles and we can assist our children when something does happen, and we can go, well, I know I know why this happened. and you can assist that child to go on their healing journey. When you're living in childhood with a bunch of adults who have not dealt with their trauma, there's no way that they can assist that child properly to grow and to heal, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that's really important as well, because even in criminology, right, when you're studying criminals, right, and I'll just know what's happening there. And basically, in criminology, you're taught that for some reason, and science doesn't know this because they're not allowed to connect it to, you know, intergenerational stuff, but they do say a criminal can sense that hole in that person, right? So the criminal goes, this person I can target.
Yeah.
They can be a victim.
I've heard that, yeah.
And it's this thing that they can feel, and they know who they can target and who they can't.
They can sense the hole inside of the soul of the person, and they've also got other entities and spirits with them, like going, yeah, that one, you know, like because they want to feed off. They want to feed off that person's pleasures that they're going to get, you know. And so there's dark entities out there as well that, you know, will influence the pedophiles, and yeah.
And I just wish I knew that when I was studying criminology. Could have really like targeted a essay on that to you know, bring it to light to the academia, so they can start, you know, looking at it in a different lens in that sense, you know. But God is very a dogma topic as well, and spirits and spiritual entities and stuff like that is not really allowed in that. But if you can bring it in some way, like right now they're starting to open up to more emotional things in
criminology.
Academia.
Yeah.
So academia was all against any kind of emotions, but now that, you know, social science is going into very much more behavioral things, you know, caused by emotions. So it could be that we could have the revelation that we need to be able to truly start targeting the core issue rather than
truly assisting like pedophiles and rapists to understand why they are the way that they are, you know, and hopefully guide them down into dealing with some of their own trauma, because it all just comes back to trauma. Like nobody does what they do. Some of them do though. There's some of them that do it from entitlement and I just want power, you know. But there are some people, like for example, lots of people who get sexually abused do either can go two ways. Just because something has happened to you, it doesn't mean that that person will always make that choice to then continue that. Yes. There are some people that don't, like myself, for example. But there are some people who will use that, like will not deal with that, and then, you know, end up taking the same actions. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah.
Or they, you know, are convinced from their predator that what happened to them was a good thing. So then therefore trying to relive that power play with others and convincing them that what they're doing is loving. You know,
it's a delusion.
And it's a massive cycle there that needs to be dealt with. But a lot of them don't really usually deal with it in this lifetime. But but yeah, and then this leads to the last question.
Yes. Talk to me.
Oh, actually, I got one more and then the last question.
And if any of you guys in the stream have any questions, feel free to write a comment. I'll be more than happy to answer anything that we've been talking about.
Yep. Or if you're rewatching it because it's not live anymore.
Yeah, if you're rewatching the replay, write me a comment. That's what they always say.
She'll get to you so fast.
Put it in the comments.
You have no idea. Okay, and then I've got two questions, but this is the second last one. Tell us things you loved and adore about your family before they turned on you. So like in that.
Oh, well, I just think that I love the community of the family, you know, like comparing it to how I felt around my dad's side of the family. I was always freaking terrified, crying my eyes out, bawling my eyes. But when I was around my mum's side of the family, my Aboriginal side of the family, I felt welcomed. Like I fit in, like I belong, like I was allowed to be there, you know, like I just felt a warmth, a love and a warmth of like, you are allowed to be here, you know. There's just, I think it's a thing about Aboriginal culture that they're very accepting people of everyone, you know, like in the sense of like, in terms of like, I think that in their true nature, they are in their true nature underneath all of the hurt and the rage. Aboriginal people are very, very passive, very welcoming, very warm people, and they're very inviting, you know. So they're very accepting of like everyone, like, you know what I mean? There's no, oh, you're white, you're not allowed here. You know what I mean?
I gotta say though, like, you know, even compared to my family, because, you know, Wog families, they're a bit brutal. And that's what you're talking about, because your other half is very woggy.
Yes.
But my experience, like, you know, meeting a lot of your family members has been incredible. Like, they're friendlier than almost all of my cousins.
Yeah.
And they are far more welcoming than my cousins. And a lot of my aunties are very aggressive. They're not, there's a
this
very,
hardness.
they swing so much on the pendulum. You don't know when they want to hug you or hit you. Do you know what I mean? So you're like, do I jump or do I hug back? Like, I don't know. And I think like, with your family, my experience is, they are very warm. And there's no this like, I'm going to speak informally, like I'm going to speak very formally to you and casual and normal.
They're just themselves. They're just like, whatever.
Like, they are very, they're themselves. And that's really cool, because I don't have that with my family. It's very like formal to these people, and then you're yourself within your own family.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
So you have to have these two hats at all times.
Yeah, there's a hardness to Greek culture, even on my dad's side of the family. Like, there wasn't that warmth that I felt, you know, like as a child. Like, there was in some aspects. I'm not going to say all of them were not warm. I'm just saying, like, there were moments when I didn't feel that, you know, like, especially if my mum's going out at night and she's dropping me off to stay with my Greek auntie and uncle, you know, like, first of all, I was already in a complete terror that my mum's going to leave me. So, but yeah, I think like there is a hardness to Greek culture. But, you know, I think there's also a hardness to all cultures. Like, you know, we can all be quite hard and shut down, and it just depends on our life experiences and what we've been through, you know, because I know that there's a lot of blackfellas now in my culture who are very hardened, you know, especially this generation, very hardened, like, you know, very angry, very rageful. And I understand that anger and rage. I do. I've been through it. But yeah, like, I think it's certain cultures have certain dynamics. Like, AJ always says Aussies are like, have this laissez-faire attitude, you know, of like, she'll be right, mate, you know, like, we'll get to it when we get to it, you know, like we have this kind of like very laid back attitude, to the point where it is actually very kind of like dismissive or skipping over a lot of problems and issues, because we're always like, she'll be right, you know. And I think every culture has their certain like problem, you know, that shows up. So yeah, people, what was the question?
I agree.
And the good things that I like are
So you said
so I think
there's a softness to them, and you got to understand.
And
you're
humor.
now seeing the hard side, and humor. But we'll go back. You're seeing now that people, are, you know, this generation's getting harder, and you know the next generation's probably going to get even harder.
Yeah.
Know? And you think about it though, it's only been like 260 or
something years
or something, right?
Since the first fleet arrived in Australia.
Exactly, right? So that's when your big boom happened in terms of really getting even more oppressed than before. Whereas you'd see like something like a Greek culture is almost, you know, at least if you're going by even the things that they physically can see, you're looking at 6,000 to 8,000 years of oppression.
Yes.
You know, so how much anger is built up.
in the Greek,
that long.
in the heart. Yeah.
And,
I mean, because
and there's possibly even more years than that, but that's just the recorded stuff they can see, you know.
Yeah.
Like physically still have a coin from that time. Like that's crazy.
Well,
right?
I mean, how hardened did you become after years of bullying?
Yeah.
You became
Extremely
top
hard.
dog in your school.
Extremely hard.
Yeah. So, yeah, like, yeah, it's, you know, when unhealed trauma goes unchecked for centuries on end, well, you can expect to see some hardening in the cultures because if we're not dealing with it, then we're going to be acting it out in all sorts of different ways that aren't loving to ourselves or to other people. So, yeah.
And then the last question.
Yeah, go for it.
And then we'll paint our black.
Yeah,
Do you have the third container?
The third container's somewhere.
Oh, did you?
Oh, here it is.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the last question. I need the book because it's too long.
Yes. Can I just put this here?
Yep.
It's okay. The other side hasn't been painted.
Grief. You end with grief, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you say, if you're dealing with the grief and stuff, you're not too weak for feeling pain, not weak for feeling torn.
Mm-hmm.
Children are wired to hold on to family even when family becomes complicated.
Mm-hmm.
One day, all these fractured feelings, grief, confusion, longing, and fear no longer control you, and you begin to make music. Tell me about this.
Well, what exactly would you like to know?
Like these are very strong words that almost all of us feel. We feel torn. We feel confused. We feel like we don't belong. We feel.
Well, I think I wanted
to make.
I wanted to make a point in the audio series to my younger self of, you know, because children don't understand why they feel the way that they feel, and they don't even know what they're feeling half the time. They're just feeling a lot of like emotions inside, and often with no outlet. They don't know how to process them properly. By the time they get to 12, 13, we don't, you know, we have our parents like saying, don't cry all the time to us, like from a young age. And so when we get to that age, we're like, oh, I can't cry. Like I can't feel angry. I'm not allowed to feel these emotions because bad things are going to happen to me if I do feel them. So I just wanted to add that into my letters to my younger self and say it's okay that you feel these feelings, you know. You don't, you know, in the sense of like, I guess sharing like a bit of truth that like we need to encourage our children and the younger generations that they are allowed to feel and that they are allowed to process especially painful feelings, you know, and that we need to be able to give them that empathy of going, you know, what did I say? It's okay that you're feeling weak. Like you're not weak for feeling torn. We need to be able to share to our younger generations that feeling emotions is not a weakness, you know, feeling whether it's rage, anger, fear, grief. We need to be able to start educating the younger generations that it's okay to feel, and we just need to take self-responsibility for our own feelings, and we need to allow ourselves to feel them and to go through them, you know, because we often have these feelings and we feel like we're wrong for having them. So I think that's the point I was trying to make. And, you know.
And I think also like sometimes we think it's easier to hold it in than to let it out. But I think once you've got the courage to let it out, then it's actually the stronger, like it's not a weak choice. It's a courageous choice to be able to bring it out, because actually, even though it feels hard to hold it in, and you think, oh, I'm doing the right thing because you're holding it in, it's actually the harder thing to do, because you're holding it in and then something else happens and then it comes back up and then you're holding it in again. Because
it's exhausting holding it in.
But also because like you think, you know, being tough is better.
Yes.
And that like being emotional is weak.
Being staunch, you know, putting on a stiff upper lip and holding it all in is is good and healthy,
strength.
and it's a strength. And look, I'm showing my kids that I'm strong, but what you're teaching your kids is that emotions are bad, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really powerful to end like that. So, congrats, babe.
Thank you.
And that was just me doing a very quick list. Quick listen and quick questions. So
Yeah, so if any of you in the stream haven't checked out the first episode of my audio series, you can head to my Patreon. It's totally free to join. Obviously, you have to enter your email to join, but other than that, you don't have to pay anything. I've made my Patreon completely free. It's just a platform to go kind of deeper with anyone who might be interested.
Yeah.
So
if
feel
they
free.
want to donate, they can.
Yeah, but
yeah, I was just gonna say because that's yeah, I can't remember now.
Oh, sorry. But I also want to say one more thing as well, that my Growing Up Was Painful single that's out right now on Subvert. You can go and download it for free as well. You can leave a donation if you want to, but otherwise you can enjoy it freely from my Subvert. You can check out the link in my bio to the Soul Arcadia release, and all the songs will be there. I'll hopefully have 12 songs by the time the whole Soul Arcadia album gets released on streaming in November. For now, I'll release 6 songs just to my Subvert, which is a new platform. And if you're an artist and you're not on Subvert, you should totally get on it because you get 100% proceeds. Like, they don't take a cut. So, yeah, go check out Subvert as well. But also...
I was just going to add to that and just say, like, you go, oh, no, it's a whole audio series. The episodes are like 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
They're really short. So.
My audio series, I'm planning on doing 12 episodes. So I'm going to be around 3 minutes long for each episode. It's very short stories.
They're literally diary entries. So.
Yeah, letters, diary, journal entries, literally. So nothing too major. But, yeah, so there's that. So if you want to check out the EP for now, you can head to my Subvert page, and the link to that is in my bio. And yes, my audio series is on my Patreon. And hopefully we are hoping to do at least once a week a live stream with me and Nikki, which Nikki's my partner for those of you who don't know. So we want to jump on at least once a week with each other to the live, and throughout the week, I hopefully want to jump on myself and do more live streams, me putting together live performances with Ableton on some of the songs that I've released. So I want to do that. I'm not going to go down the route of being a tutorial person. It's more so for me to just share my processes of how I create things, not to teach or become an educator. I literally just want to, share behind the scenes of how I make my live performances, because most of you only ever really see the final product, the final video that I post on my YouTube of my live performances. So that's the plans. Look at how dirty this is. Do you like it, babe?
I love it. I was just thinking.
Where are you guys from in the chat? Where are you from, JR33? Where are you from? Would love to know where you guys are located. And how's your music journey going? I like to ask people who've joined the stream some questions, but usually they just kind of stay chilled in the background. Don't like to say much, my audience. Yep, that corner. Cool.
Beautiful.
Oh, I really like this.
Yeah, I've discovered why my one was struggling and yours aren't.
Why?
It's the brand.
The brand.
This brand is like this. This brand.
Matisse?
Matisse.
Yep, it's a better brand, hey? Wow, that sucks, babe.
So, yeah. Here. So, this brand here didn't do a great job in... It's just very...
Watery? Like thin?
No, it was like... have you ever painted a pole?
No.
Okay. With a pole, you need to use a specific type of like a oily kind of paint so that it can actually stick to the, you put a primer on it and then you put a proper thing. This is giving me that vibe like when you paint straight onto the pole and it's not the right paint, it does that. So I'm not sure what's with this paint that does that. So I'm not sure. But these ones did not get affected by the sealer.
Can you
this
put
one
your
got
hand,
affected by the sealer.
Put your hand underneath that, and then I'll just grab that one. Oh, yeah. So for those of you who are in the stream, what we are doing today is painting. These are my collectible boxes that I'm making for my album release. These are photo boxes, so this is the frame, obviously, that'll have that album artwork in it. And I'm going to be putting a CD in it with some extra goodies. And I'm making 10 of these, so 10 limited edition CD boxes. And I'm giving them away for free. You have the option to donate if you want to. But if you would like one, just let me know. And I'm happy to ship this wherever in the world. So if you DM me, write a comment, get in touch with me somehow, just let me know, hey, I'd like one of those CD boxes that you're making. I'd be more than happy to make one for you, but you gotta let me know, otherwise I won't know fuck all.
You can't swear on YouTube, they're gonna ban you.
Oh well, I'm too small for them to ban me yet, so that I have a
they won't know.
They won't know. So for now, while I'm an unknown,
who cares?
Undiscovered, a nobody, a nobody according to YouTube, I will say what I want for now, and then we'll see, if they start putting little strikes on my channel, I might reel it all in. But for now, no one knows that I exist, really. So I tell you what, I really enjoyed painting with these. I should give you an experience of this paint. Hey, do you want an experience?
I'll paint that. Just
okay, you can paint that. Yeah. This paint was awesome.
Worst case scenario, I'm going to just paint over this graphite with that if I am not happy with it.
Yeah, you can just sand it back a bit and we'll paint it black.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We definitely can't paint it that colour.
Why?
I don't know. Will it?
I really like
Will it cover it?
Well, it depends how far back I go, I suppose. You're right. But yeah, we can just go black. Black, worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, it really feels like I'm painting a pole. Every time you go over it a second time, it wipes down. It disappears. And you're like, yes. So anyone that has painted poles knows exactly what I'm talking about, babe.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah. Deadly, deadly, deadly.
Just got to make sure I've got the sides. Because, I miss little corners and stuff.
I know. Just hold it like this.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thanks.
No worries. Then you flip it the same way. Go like this. Yeah, there's a little bit there that needs done.
Oh,
And the whole section on the bottom.
this side needs definitely doing.
Don't do that. You rub it off there.
Damn it. You can tell I know how to do this shit. Like, fucking don't, eh?
It's alright. It's no mistakes. You can just fix them. So it is mistakes, but you fix them.
And I'm sure they'd have proper things to prop these on so you can paint them without touching them. But we old school.
Old school. It's the fun way.
Just get in, get your hands dirty.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. All right. Do you want to? Oh, I better
make sure you do it correctly.
When I think I've got it, I don't. I see a little mark there.
You gotta put a little bit more paint because it's still thinning out.
Okay.
There you go. Done.
Okay.
All right. I'll try to move this.
I'll just leave it here. I'm just going to leave it there.
All right, leave it there because I just.
Yes, we are creating some collectible boxes. I was saying in yesterday's stream how, like, I don't know, I just think it's important that we get back to the old school way of consuming music and we start buying CDs again and tapes, and we stop paying for subscriptions for music that we'll never own. So just planting little seeds there for everyone to think about. Yeah, if you're like, you know, struggling through like listening to music on streaming through the adverts, you know, because you can't afford the subscription, and then also you might be paying a subscription, why not like just buy the album and you can listen to it whenever you want
and support the artist directly instead of
you can
the middleman.
Listen to the music however many times you want for however long you want without any adverts, and you get to choose what you want to put on next. It's not suggested for you. So yeah, just a thought, you know. That's what I've been doing anyway.
I've been enjoying it because I didn't really get to experience it too much because my sister controlled the CD player, the stereo, shall I say. She was just always giving me the microphone because she would always make me sing.
But I mean, like, how awesome was it? Like when you bought a CD or a tape and you pull out the insert, you flip through it, you read it, you learn all the words and the songs, you know, like how awesome was that? That was, I don't know, like that was an experience. That was, you know, like something that you took time out, you know, to really immerse yourself in that artist's release. So I think, you know, growing up, having that experience for myself was, you know, has made me think about it now. And I go, wow, I miss that. I miss those experiences. And, you know, like how often do we not do that anymore with new music, even with indie artists? Like we don't immerse ourselves in their whole release, you know. We just, like they say, listen to the first 5 seconds. If you don't like it, skip. What? I remember like getting a whole album and going head to toe in the album and listening to fucking songs I didn't know of, but you grow to love those songs over time, even though they're not charting, they're not number ones, you know, like you grew to love the whole album because you took the time to re-listen and like, you know, over time those songs grew on you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
I can only relate that with Delta Goodrum because that's the only songs we had CDs for to again and again listen to.
Yeah, but
it's the only ones I actually learnt like the lyrics to because I listened to it enough. I didn't read the lyrics. I just had to listen to it enough to just pick them up.
Yeah, exactly. I just think that like we've become so I don't know. We've just lost our spark, our magic of like exploration and wonder and curiosity, and we need to bring that back with music in the sense of like, you know, really immersing ourselves in an artist release, an indie artist release. Oh, you fucked it up. Now I'm gonna have to paint over that. Wait, that has to dry. Has to dry.
Otherwise you spread it.
Has to dry. Look at what happened.
I just tried to move. I actually didn't move anything, but it rolled off.
Look at it. Black.
Right there. My bad.
Oh, damn.
I didn't want to. I was worried. I went like this. It was like that, and I was like, oh, this is not gonna.
I'm pushing it all the way back there.
It's gonna flip. I knew it was gonna fall, and then before I could catch it, it fell.
Just put it on the cardboard if you're finished with it. No, not there, because it's gonna fall on that one here. Just lay it down flat.
Okay.
Boom! Now you don't have to worry about it falling over. All right. Well, thank you to everyone who's joined our stream today. We truly appreciate it. We've just been here having yarns about my audio series. Leaving Grey Box Crescent is out now on my Patreon. It's only about 3.5 minutes long. We've been making progress with my album collectibles. So we've gotten up to the painting part, which has been a lot of fun. We hope you enjoyed the stream, and we shall see you in the next one. I have no idea, but there's going to be more. And majority of the time there'll be pop-up streams where I just will jump on and won't announce. So hopefully see you in another one. But we're hoping to get on again together, maybe next Saturday if you're free. I have no idea. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
But yeah, cool. Thanks for joining, guys, and we will see you
Bye.
next time. Take care. Peace.